Alright guys, I want to talk today a little bit about reloads. There's a lot of stuff going on where people are doing reloads from an overt carry status or maybe a full mission profile type status where they're kitted up in full kit and they're doing reloads from their battle belt. Guys, going back to the original reason why I started taking to the civilian market, or why I even started going out and teaching on video and teaching in open enrollment type scenarios, is specifically because a lot of the stuff that is being brought forth from the military or even the law enforcement side of the house is just simply, a lot of the principles are good and sound, but some of the methodology does not fit the mission that many times civilians are going to be in. So we have to end up adapting scenarios based on the fact that you're not going to have backup, based on the fact that you're not going to be kitted up in full kit, you don't have comms. I mean, we need to be realistic as far as our day-to-day environment, the things that we are going to encounter, and then adapt a lot of those principles to our particular situation. So again, this is one of the reasons why I have a tendency to focus more on concepts, because it allows you, if I can get you to see the concept, it allows you the freedom to be able to adapt it to your particular situation, versus if I just flat out show you this is a technique, you might end up just duplicating the technique. And this comes into, there was two quotes that I heard today that really have just been rattling around in my head all day long. One was from Frank Proctor, who had stated, and I'm just kind of paraphrasing, that the information that you've received, you have not actually attained knowledge until you can add an original thought to it. Until you can take that and put it in your own words and be able to articulate it and structure it and be able to add something new to it, you have not actually attained that knowledge. All you are doing is regurgitating information. And again, this is one of the reasons why I focus more on concepts, is to not simply regurgitate information. Well, this is how I was taught, therefore this is what to do. I want to be able to usher in the next quote that I heard today, and that was from Clint Smith from Thunder Ranch. He had basically had just drawn the contrast between an instructor and a teacher, and he looked it up in the Webster's Dictionary. I don't remember, somebody had sent me this, and it was just really kind of profound. But an instructor is just that. He instructs, he tells you what to do. But a teacher teaches. He encourages learning. He encourages free thinking, and something that is grossly missing in our society today. So I wanted to go ahead and just touch on those. But when we're doing reloads, we need to focus on the fact that we're going to be reloading from concealment. Realistically, if you're carrying concealed and you're going to carry reloads, which I would encourage you to do, you're going to be doing it from concealment. So I wanted to go through a couple of the methods that I use to go about doing this. And as usual, I find that as far as weapons manipulation goes, the airsoft is an excellent tool for being able to do this, because it functions in every way exactly like the real firearm would. So I have an empty magazine that is charged up with gas, and then I have a reload ready to go that's charged up with both rounds and gas. So how this basically goes, and this is how I do it. There are other ways of doing it. I'm just going to show you how I do it. As I come up, I want to get that repetitive practice of going ahead and drawing, clearing my garment, and just building in those repetitions. I'm going to punch out, and I'm actually going to fire that round, and I will get that slide lock. From here, I have a tendency, based on the size of my hands, I don't have extremely large hands or anything, and one thing that I don't like to do is I don't like to give up my master grip in order to eject that mag. So as I roll that pistol back in, I actually hit that mag and drop it out, and then my hand comes to my secondary mag. As I'm going here, remember that just like you had to clear a garment on this side, you're now going to have to clear a garment with your support hand as well. So this stays in my workspace. I clear that garment in the same manner that I would my pistol on the draw. I come up, I index that finger, pistol in. Now I drop that slide with my thumb, or sometimes I will actually roll it and grip from the forward of the ejection port. But usually I can just hit the slide release with my thumb, and then my hands roll back in, and I fire that next round. So we set this drill up again. There will be one round in here from the previous, and we can go either back to a draw, or we can start all the way, or from the ready position. So I'm going to punch out. I fire that round. I end up with slide lock. From here, come back in, drop the slide, clear my garment. Next round in, slide release, and I fire that next round. So, just like anything else that we do, we want to go ahead and build in those repetitions, but we also want to take into account how we go about reloading in the event that we have an injured limb. We see this a lot, and there's different ways to do this, where you can take that pistol and you can orient it between your knees. You can actually set it behind or in the knee pit and kneel down on it. You could put it back into the holster. These are all things that are fine. Putting it back into the holster from a concealed type scenario, I don't think is all that practical, especially given the account that I've probably got a down limb somewhere. Not to mention the fact that if I'm on support side and I have to reload, getting it back into the holster this way and being able to eject the mag becomes that much more difficult. So, and I'm not a real fan of putting the pistol between my legs or in my knee pit or something like that unless I've got a really good solid piece of cover. These are not necessarily bad techniques or anything like that. It's just they're techniques that are based on a certain mindset, based on being able to carry overtly, based on having other team members who can provide cover while you're reloading, things that are not necessarily going to be in our wheelhouse as far as civilians carrying on a concealed basis, where we might end up in a situation where we have to execute a reload with an injured limb. So how I go ahead and do this is I go ahead and I just lock that limb in. I go ahead and draw, and I present. I end up with that slide lock situation. Now in this case here, I'm going to have to actually get rid of my master grip, which is not really an issue because I've only got one hand on the pistol anyway. So as I come in, I orient that pistol out, drop that. Now what I'm going to do is this is going to come, I'm actually going to take this and I'm going to index it under my arm. The reason is because this port now is open, so I can maintain awareness on what's going on in front of me. In the event that I'm having to move or run or something like that, I can execute this reload. You'll also notice that the pistol is oriented down at the ground, so I don't have to worry about it flagging anybody. As I bring this back, this is orienting down. At no point am I flagging anybody. That magwell is out. I can now come in with my primary hand, take that, lock it in, re-grab, I'll slide forward, and then I can fire that next round off. So, this is one method that I use, and again, it's probably my preferred method only because it allows me to still maintain situational awareness instead of being in a situation where I'm having to drop this between my knees and still pay attention to what's going on, or dropping it behind my leg, or even dropping it back into my holster where I'm trying to clear my garment to reholster my weapon just so I can eject the mag. So again, these are not necessarily bad techniques, but they're techniques that are set up for certain scenarios, and you need to be able to execute all of them because the situation is going to dictate. So I'm going to go ahead and reset again. I've already reset my mag and reloaded my empty back in. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to execute this from my support side. So I start off at the low ready, I present, I get that slide lock, the same situation. Now here what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my bird finger to actually eject that mag. So as I come back in, I eject that mag, I swing down. From here I lock under my arm, grab that next mag, mag goes in, I slide release using my trigger finger, and then come back out, and I'm good to go. So, you guys give that a try. Those are a couple methods that I use to execute reloads, either from two-handed or from one-handed type scenarios. Again, the situation is going to dictate, and you need to think, okay? Don't simply regurgitate information. Think about it, all right? Don't be that instructor. Be the teacher. Think about it, understand why you do it, when you do it, and that'll help you make the decision as to whether or not you're going to do it under the arm, in the legs, behind the leg, in the holster, whatever the situation calls for. All right? You guys train hard.